Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale. Ron Yak's been a fantastic show for you. PvP win, trading, and punishment in discussions are brought once again back up. A kind of a follow-up for a week after the Warclaws drop. Some people don't seem too enthused, but some are liking it, so we'll have to talk all about that. And a little bit more. It's kind of a slow news week, but we will go over it, so let me introduce you to my fellow hosts. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion and hosts of Zero to Hero and Vote to Kick on this very channel. It may be a slow news week, and he probably wanted more news to discuss, but hey, that is life sometimes. Say hello to Jim.
I forgot to brew tea for this. I'm not looking forward to this part.
No, well, I say this should be a short one, but I think every time we have nothing to talk about, those usually be our longest. So
I was going to say, every time we have a short story, you're like, abandoned.
Everybody else does it, not me. But, well, maybe we'll get into that. Hopefully not. He streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question. With the Warclaw a week in and him missing a week, are we going to hear his impressions? Say hello to Age.
You will.
Oh boy. And that wasn't even anything about the balance patch and Thief. Holy crap. The pain in his eyes. All right. And she's an editor at Guildmag, writes for MMORPG.com, and also her own site, MMORly.com, and also a moderator over at MMO Champion. As I was reading, I was like, there is something that I haven't written in there yet that you told me we left out, and I remembered at the very end. With not a lot of info, we might need her to do impressions of celebrities roaring. Say hello to Robin.
Oh, that could be fun.
May I suggest Jack Nicholson roaring like the Warclaw?
Roar.
Perfect. Well, could you all tell how slow of a news week it is?
I'm also feeling a little punchy today, so.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it would be great.
And yeah, thank you for everybody that caught it. I guess we did forget to give a heads up that because of daylight savings time and all that fun stuff switching around, that seems like people are showing up on time. So
good job.
Fantastic. I'm glad to see everybody coming out.
All the people who watch who are not in America, so they didn't know that we do this weird thing earlier than everybody else. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I just hope we get rid of it.
Yes, me too. High five.
I'm really
there you go.
getting real tired of daylight savings time.
It would be a win in my book if we got rid of it. Maybe we could trade or barter, like have a discussion about, give or take.
What?
I
mean, like a trade?
Yeah. Speaking of winning and trading things.
Yay.
I saw this blurb. Just real quick, I saw this blurb about daylight savings. When you lose an hour of sleep, it causes all of these horrible effects on you over time. It's like, just go to bed an hour earlier.
But you can't always, because you're used to being tired at a specific time and your body still thinks it's that time, but it's not.
Just throw yourself in bed an hour and a half earlier.
That doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody just goes to bed and falls asleep.
There are drugs for that, Arlie.
Great.
Well, let's not promote that.
Telling people to take drugs. Good job.
But it seems like you guys fall on different sides, like you're battling against each other on this topic, like in PvP. And talking about all of that, win trading, PvP. That happened this week. And once again, so we had a Reddit discussion. Apparently, what was it? One of the top things, but this time I think it was EU was the guild. Like people in the EU were the ones win trading, and it was apparently, I believe the name's correct, Lefrere. I think it's Lefrere. But supposedly people know that this is one of the people that, I guess one of their alt accounts holds another position in the leaderboard. And I guess they were trying to take another spot through win trading.
And that's like always been the kind of the part of the issue with the win trading is people without alt accounts, and the fact that like PvP, like you don't lose a whole lot if your account is just a PvP account and it gets banned, like the same way that you lose stuff from PvE. And so like it's one of the reasons why this persists, because they can't figure out a good way to punish people that's effective.
And it kind of stemmed from, of course, once again, win trading, and in the past how, it's kind of been a little light on the punishment portion of it.
Right.
But it also stemmed with like a topic on basically punishing players that are toxic or are also win trading. So I don't know. I'd like to hear if Chad has thoughts on
I feel
dealing with
like
that.
at this point they should be able to use device ID or something, and like the first time you do win trading, fine, temporary ban, whatever. The next time your whole device is banned. Like I feel like that's not a terrible thing to do. Like make it actually mean something, because it's just ruining things for people who are trying to play legitimately, you know?
Yeah, it's like almost like, and I think I've seen some people saying it in the post, like you're making it worse for what little is left there that are trying to enjoy PvP, and it's like, and that's always the downside of, I truly don't believe they don't care about a game mode, but it does make it feel like that sometimes, where it's like, oh no, they'll be fine. It's like, seriously, like
it's the primary issue is more the fact that PvP already has a really low population.
Yeah.
And one, when you have a low population, people who are really good are always going to be able to do shit like this.
Right.
Because it's just what ends up happening. The outliers are the ones that stretch and break the system. And the fewer people you have, the more outliers you have, the wonkier shit gets. So we either ban them and continue perma-banning them, no matter how many alts they make. It's just, hey, that's them. Shut it down.
Right.
Well, then you remove someone who is potentially getting other people into the game mode.
Yeah.
And you remove yet another chunk of the population. So that's the conundrum.
But my question would be, are you getting, like, I've never heard of someone saying like, oh yeah, I'm basically cheating all the way through this game, you should pick it up as a fair competition. No, it'd be like, look at all the stuff I can get away with, you could probably get away with the same stuff. That's probably the discussion this person's having to lure people in, which once again, that would just make things 20 times worse.
Right.
But at the same time, we're talking about win trading at like the top spots. That technically only affects a small number of players. Like it sucks to say, and I hate the fact that I'm saying this, really I do.
Right.
It's that his shitty behavior is only realistically affecting a small number of people. Realistically, it's affecting the top 10 players. Because generally speaking, you'd expect the top 10 players of whoever's logged in at the time would be the ones fighting each other in a given match. Because at that point, that's like there's a ceiling to how matchmaking can work when you're talking about the top echelons of players.
The thing I would wonder about that is how many of these players at the top are also streaming and have like followers and stuff like that who might be interested through seeing that. And then if they see the stuff about win trading happen, you know, it could be discouraging from other people to try. It was like, well, if that happens, why even bother?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I rarely bother with like, I've always said, hey, maybe I'll finish my pip reward track this season, and I don't, because my rank doesn't matter. My rank will never matter because I'm not going to get in the top 200 or 250. And Mofongo, I think, also has a point, is there is a lack of strict enforcement.
Right. Well, the other thing is like, it's a common principle in MMOs and other areas that more often than not, you do temporary bans rather than permanent bans, because there, over the many years of MMOs, there's a lot of data that they've gathered that shows permanent bans, more often than not, people just create new accounts and keep doing the crappy stuff. Temporary bans, more often than not, people are like, oh, I got caught, and then they come back and they don't do the stuff again, which is why they are leaning towards that. But that's also why I feel like if somebody is caught more than once doing that, they need to be harder on it, you know?
Yeah, because while that is the more common route people would go to, this person sounds like an outlier, which means they're not being affected by that, which then, yeah, you have to take it to another level, which...
Right.
No one's going to invest in a competitive game mode if they know there's win trading. There's no point in getting better in a competitive
Right.
game if there are exploits, if there's just clear win trading and nothing's being done about it. I don't mind if there's temporary bans, but I do think there needs to be at least a 3-strike system or something like that in order to facilitate, hey, you can't be doing this.
Right.
I agree.
Like, to use a World of Warcraft example, back in vanilla, like on a lot of servers, the top positions in the rankings were controlled by certain guilds who all got together and were like, all right, we're taking turns getting everybody up to Grandmaster. And it worked. It was a good system for them, but it demoralized people who weren't part of those guilds, who wanted to get up, because it was harder for them to get into the ranking higher up because the top people were controlling it so much. It's kind of the same kind of situation here, where unless you're benefiting directly from it, it makes it much more likely that you're going to be like, well, why should I even try?
And chat's saying remove stuff like remove the titles, permanent dishonor, then the account would be pretty much useless in PvP, and I've definitely seen that brought up in that discussion. One thing, but
that's also why I think they need to do outside of just the account is move to the device, because it is so easy to get a new account for PvP.
One thing I was thinking of, because people will also bring up what to do with also toxic players. Isn't League trying to do something with that? Other games, but I know
Jerk Island or something.
Oh, that's actually a prison island system actually makes things worse.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, and I was gonna suggest that one next too.
Because it sounds so awesome.
Yeah,
put all the toxic people together, everybody else can have the game back.
It just
sounds good.
What is it? It just reinforces the behavior.
It just festers.
Yeah, just everyone gets toxic in there.
And then
in Prison Island, but isn't the rest of the game okay then?
Yeah, but then you have one person who, maybe rages in chat because they had a shitty day, and then something that happened in the game is just the thing that broke them. They start rage typing, and they get sent to Prison Island, and suddenly their experience of the game, they feel bad about it, because the average person who starts going full rage mode feels bad after the fact. And they come back and they suddenly are, dealing with all of the bullshit that comes at them from just generally toxic players.
Right. Do the games who use a system like that, is there a way you can get out of Prison Island?
Technically, if you make it through games without being reported or being shitty in chat.
Yeah, people probably report people at the drop of a hat in there.
Yeah, well...
But it would save those people that normally had that one bad day, which would suck that those people get caught or get sent to that. But if they aren't raging on people constantly, then they would theoretically get out.
Unless they get consistently reported by the shitty players who are already there.
Right.
Because at that point, in a system like that, which tends to be automated. This is actually one of my coworkers is a big Dota player, and Dota tried a Prison Island system, and I think it's called low priority queue or something, and people will just report you.
And it's I was gonna say I could think that
system that just you got reported by 4 or 5 other people in this game. You stay in low priority queue.
Right. For something like that to work well, you need people reviewing the reports to see if they're meaningful or not. Otherwise,
It
not
requires
gonna
active
work.
moderation.
Well, I mean, come on. Can we have a real prison island? Like, once a year, send all those people that have been in that. They get teleported no matter what they're doing into a World v. World like map. And it's just like Hunger Games. Last person remaining, you get to come back.
Are you trying to get people to play a battle royale in Guild Wars 2?
Guild Wars 2 Battle Royale Edition.
Yeah, sure. For some reason, my head it was playing more like Escape from LA or whatever it was.
Well,
Escape from New York.
There was one of the activities that was like that, where you had to find tools or whatever, and you killed people, and last person alive won.
Yeah, they did.
South Sun Survival.
Yeah.
Well, and then during the betas, they had a more large scale one, which was, what was it? It was a mix between, was it Hunger Royale? Was the?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh God, more Battle Royale. Yeah, but this is bad people.
Battle
They'll tell
Royale
them.
and everything.
Yeah, it's just that's one of the bigger problems with like a prison island system.
Right.
It just reinforces bad behavior.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What Riot did with League of Legends is what is it, Age? They just swapped it.
Tribunal.
No, not the tribunal, the honor system.
Honor system too, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what Overwatch did too, kind of. They did an endorsement system instead.
Oh, is it basically the same as the honor system in League?
It's kind of like it's positive reinforcement. So like, hey, this person did good, uptick, give them an upvote. So
Final Fantasy 14 has something like that. You get done with dungeons or stuff, you can give commendations to people in the group who you think did well, and I don't think in the long run it means a whole lot. It might, I just don't know that much about it, but it always feels nice to be like, hey, I got a commendation. Yay.
Yeah.
Ouch, chat. That's a deep cut there, chat.
Hey, there's still PvP balance patches. It's still technically supported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that type of honor system, it kind of gives them like I know in Overwatch, if you have like a decent endorsement level, you get free loot boxes every now and then. With League, you get I think it was like, I don't know, extra boxes or something like that.
You'll just get random like loot boxes and random keys.
So it's like small little bonuses depending on how high your honor
Well,
is.
and that's the thing I was going to say, because when you started talking about that, and then you said that there's the positive reinforcement aspect of it is, yeah, what if they create like a little buffer if it was just based on chat, like you said, one person has one bad day and they're sent to that prison island, but if they were playing, for months and, they're not really like swearing or raging or anything like that, like nothing, it creates that buffer, unless for some reason the PvP community from the get-go is just deciding to always, downvoting, which that could happen.
Well, see, that's the thing, is there's no downvote in a system like this.
Oh, okay.
There is literally there's no negative baseline.
You can only give commendation
No,
or
you-
not.
Oh, okay.
There is a negative aspect to it, but that comes from being reported and having actions taken against your account, where you'll get dropped lower and then you have to work to get back up. But generally speaking, you start at like a 3 out of 10 or like a 3 or 4 out of 10, and then you work up from there.
Yeah. Okay.
So it really just works more magic find for good.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, like they could give you account buffs in Guild Wars 2.
Well,
They can
more
give you
magic
Black Lion
finds an
ticket
issue
scraps.
for people who are already maxed on it, though. Like,
Well, anything other than
Maybe
that's
goes
magic
above
find.
max.
I mean, above max, yeah.
Yeah, it would be like magic find from luck. You can get 300%, but you can go past that with other buffs.
oh, okay. That
More
makes
karma gain would be more fitting, but probably wouldn't be as sought after.
It
Right.
also wouldn't be super useful from a PvP perspective.
Right.
All the skins.
Like honestly, PvP, and this is something I said, about the Warclaw, is PvP needs unique stuff.
Right.
Like it needs
You're
more
saying
than the
PvP needs a
essential.
mount.
No.
Oh,
Maybe skins. Maybe like
Yeah.
in League of Legends, the victorious skins are the skins you get if you hit, it was gold previously. I don't know what they're gonna do because they changed their ranking system. But if you hit gold
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the season, you would get a victorious skin for one of the characters in the game.
Right.
And maybe that could be a way like you can get a mount skin.
Or, maybe Guild Wars could just, make their ascension thing one season worth, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, then next season there's something new, and then
That
Well,
was-
that's what we
that
all
was-
thought the Ascension was supposed to
yeah.
be, but
right.
We all know how that went.
Yeah.
but that's just one of those things. Is like PvP needs more unique, easier to acquire things than just the Ascension. It doesn't even have truly unique skins, I don't think. There's some armor skins. There's like one armor skin set, and I think
Yeah.
that's it. Because the
It just
obsidian
depends
weapon,
how much work you put in, honestly. It just
Okay.
like if you want something, if you want a skin PvP, you can get it. You just need to put in the work. depending
And
on
if
your
you're
skill.
good, it'll take you less time, and if you're not, it'll take longer, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
but it's just like the Ascension requires 3 to 4 seasons, like 3 to
Mhm.
5.
You could do it in 2 seasons if you're
Two-
good.
2 seasons, okay. Yeah, so 2 seasons. I'm gonna say 2 to 4 just to allow
Right.
for a range of skill, but I don't know, Eric. Like it took me a year and a half, but that's just because I couldn't play as much as I wanted to.
Right. Well,
Um,
that's the other thing. Like how much time you have to put into it makes a big difference as well. And like it's also like PvP isn't a solo thing. So like it's
have to
not
do
just
it
how
with
good
9
you
other
are, but how good your team is as well at doing stuff.
How
But-
heavy they are.
And my problem in PvP is I like playing support and tanky classes, and that means I have to rely on other people.
Yeah.
What you do is you take a super survivable build. You can't mid the entire game. That's it. I did it
Well-
years ago on my Necro. It was great.
Well, I mean, I think I kind of like the purely positive reinforcement thing that could potentially give us more rewards. I don't know. As soon as you add rewards to it, like small things, I'm like ready to like be like all for it, just because we've kind of had that feeling of like not a lot of good rewards throughout the game. Like, so I
Well,
don't
they
know
might
if-
need to. My first thought is to give a number of bonus pips based on your honor level,
Yeah.
reward tracking ranked.
That's
Um,
nice.
That would mean that it would work purely in ranked, but that could also be like in PvP, you get some bonus progression to your reward track.
Hmm.
Maybe you get bonus loot when you get reward track
That'd be cool.
rewards. There's a number of like they could literally just have like a bar that you.
I feel like if they did that though, they'd have to have the commendation reset at some point because
no.
otherwise,
you don't ever want it to reset because then people have to make sure they maintain it.
yes, and that's why I'm saying you want them to
Well,
because what
I'd say
I'm
that-
saying is you could have people who are awesome for a certain amount of time and get their accommodations up high and then be shitty. And
Well,
if there's
right. If there's actions against your account, it already would drop it.
okay.
And then I would think that maybe decay would have an effect.
Right. That's
Possibly
what I was saying. Like
temporarily.
there should be some way that like you don't just get it and keep it.
Yeah. No, it would be something you have to maintain. And I could say that, if you just don't play for a while, it would be a very minimal effect because
Right.
like there's no reason to you just haven't played for a while. That's not doesn't
Right.
mean you're an asshole suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest question is, at what point do we send them to this prison island?
never.
Oh,
That was the consensus. Prison Island doesn't actually help.
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm
Send
starting
them
to think,
to-
I'm like, they could like have it on like, a big competition on Twitch that have like the Twitch drops, like, or utilizing the thing where they could actually drop things into the map. Like, sorry, I'm
Please.
thinking from a marketing standpoint for.
No, I am so tired of Twitch integration with everything.
Come
I'm getting emails
on.
for League of Legends and Twitch drops with Twitch Prime. I'm sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Come
I am
on.
so tired of Twitch Prime integration.
I don't.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
gotten a bit crazy.
Anyway, Age, you were saying something? You were gonna say
I
Extensions.
something?
was just saying we could send Dale to the prison island, but
What?
Yes.
I
Everybody
had to
would
go to
lose,
PvP
though.
first, suckers.
yeah. But yeah, I think the main problem is balance for PvP first because like you can have all the rewards you want in PvP. It's if you're not having fun, you're not gonna play. So
Right.
balance needs to be addressed, I think, first and foremost.
I think that's the other problem. We too often get into long periods of where bunker builds being king is just a thing that lasts forever, and it's not fun. Like, it's fun for a little bit, but it gets old really quick, it feels like, you know?
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on like kind of win trading and kind of PvP in general?
Just hit the easy button, fix it.
It's not so much a state of punishing players, I think.
Right.
It's a matter of increasing the player base and creating positive reinforcement loops.
Yeah.
Which in general, I mean, I think after Riot introduced the I think they said after they introduced the honor system, they saw a marked decrease in bad behavior.
Interesting.
So, well, I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you know you're going to get a reward for being nice,
right,
you're more inclined to be nice.
Right.
So,
which is kind of sad, but yeah.
But before all of that can really happen, what Age said is balance needs to be tended to.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I mean, moving from PvP to World, we've been talking about the Warclaw dropping last week. Since Age wasn't here, we'll definitely love to hear his thoughts on it and, like, you know, how difficult they feel it is difficult to achieve. I think I got there somewhere in the end. But also this past week on Twitter, Mango, who is a longtime skilled competitive Guild Wars 2 player, actually spoke out on it. But well, you said, Age, your thoughts were kind of linked to that. So would you want us to like kind of basically state what they said, and then?
So for those who don't know Mango, I first met him. He came on one of my streams, and he's a really good warrior player, and for him, it feels like PvP is in kind of a mess in terms of balance, and I agree with that. You guys know I've seen it every time it comes up, and World versus World. In terms of the mounts, I was optimistic about how they were going to change things, but I was definitely wary of them when it came to smaller scale fighting and roaming.
Yeah.
Mostly because that's where I feel like it'll have an effect. Like, roaming was already dying, but you know, like, the game mode World vs. World itself wasn't made for roaming. Roaming just developed as a
roaming is the superior way to play.
It is, but well, actually, Havoc is the superior way to play.
Well, yes, yeah. I kind of smesh Havoc and roaming together for some reason. It's just
Havoc is basically
they work together.
Yeah, so like, okay, so roaming, for those who know, roaming is like a single player running around. Havocs are like small groups of players running around. Zergs are large blobs running around. So ideally, you would have like one or two Zergs running around, and then you would have like a few Havoc squads grabbing some other objectives, so it like, keeps things rotating around, or maybe even one Zerg. But anyway, so Mango was mentioning that it's just not fun for solo players, just because, you know, if you're trying to take camp or 1v1 something, and then like all of a sudden you have mounts jumping you and killing you, it's not fun to deal with. I mean,
well, I was gonna say, I'll read it. I'll read the tweet that he put out, or the series of tweets that he put out, just so everybody's on the same page with chat. Mango basically said on Twitter, I've decided to uninstall GW2 today. I feel so heartbroken knowing that the game I have loved so much is in its current state. Every time I log in, I get so frustrated at how the balance is in PvP, or how non-fun WVW is, or even PvE isn't even fun because it's not challenging. From a decent meta to Condi Mesmers, Deadeyes to now Scrappers who can 1v4 and survive. Honestly, it's like the devs make these changes the day before the patch and don't look at anything to make sure anything is broken. Come on, now 10k barrier on a 20-second cooldown. Who thought of this? And then they go on to say, WVW is now a joke. Mounts are cool and all, but it's made the game mode not enjoyable for solo players. It's not fun to be taking a camp or 1v1ing and 7 to 8 people come running on mounts to F your day up. How is this fun even for the people on the mounts? It gets boring. So
yeah. Again, like, roaming wasn't supposed to be part of like
Right.
Well, it just like came up as a way to play the game.
Right.
But now it's like being kind of phased out, and this is one of the worries I had with that with Warclaws, people would be able to defend faster, and in terms of that, it'd be able to defend in terms of camps and things like that for that roamer.
So essentially, it's like people, when you start attacking a camp or something, people can get there to stop you quicker than they could before.
Because it's still their territory until you cap
Right.
it. So they get the speed boost on the Warclaw.
Yes. So there are ways to prevent like the symbol from coming up while you still kill mobs, but yeah, it's and even if you're like 1v1ing and things like that, like that's kind of the nature of World War Swirl that kind of happens.
Right.
Well, if you're pulling 8 people from, some other location, and you're playing a class that you have been soloing before, doesn't that also entail that you have a decent amount of mobility?
This is true, but Warclaws are faster. It just even if you have perma-swiftness, it's faster.
Right. But I would assume that also involves like some kind of stealth or maybe even super speed, so you'd be able to drop combat and mount up yourself faster. Right?
You won't be able to drop combat in time, I don't think.
Okay.
But
and Chad is saying that they have said that they are going to try to address some of the issues with mount speed and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd kind of like to break this up because it is interesting. I think this is once again the other issue that we saw like day one when the Warclaw dropped is people aren't wanting to shift strategies because it's not fun for solo players. My biggest question is, should it be? Because if you're going in solo, this is where it gets hazy. Is like if you're going out by yourself into behind enemy lines. If this is supposed to be like a war zone type thing, when they have small units going back there, they tell people, hey, if you get caught, good luck to you. Like well,
that's like, at least for me, that's what made it always kind of fun, was like you were going in as a small group to go do this and like hopefully accomplish some goals, and that it wasn't directly easy. Like if you got a big group of people together and do it, it would be much easier. So that's what attracted me about it. But I don't know. I also saw some people talking about how people just want to attack the objectives, essentially do PvE in World versus World, and don't want to fight other players. And they get upset when people in Warclaws catch up to them and force them to have to then deal with them and waste their time, basically.
I will admit, the number of times that, because me and Age played WW for 0 to Hero this past week, the number of times people tried to run past the Zerg we were running with on their Warclaws, and they just got instantaneously blown up, I feel is quite possibly the number of people you're talking about, where I think there might be people coming in from other MMOs who are thinking that, oh, this is like a game with open world PvP. I can just not do anything to them and they'll maybe leave me alone.
Right.
And it's just like,
is the key word there. Yeah.
Maybe
take a risk. Yeah.
Right.
But I will admit, like, going off of what Age said, is like the game mode wasn't really designed for 1v1.
Right.
It wasn't designed with solo in mind. So
right. Well,
as much as I hate seeing a gameplay thing removed, at the same time, it's like, how can you really say you're killing my gameplay style when your gameplay style was never really supported in the first place? You just got lucky. It's kind of like people complaining they wanted Shakadan back in World of Warcraft, but they never made They never
Yeah,
made
it was
any
never an
strides.
intended supported.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, like balancing classes, I don't care who you are, it's difficult. There's a lot of variables. It's not just balancing the class, it's balancing the abilities in the individual class and interactions, and then other classes in there can affect things. And like there's a lot that goes into it. And balancing for 1v1 is vastly different than balancing for like 2v2, 5v5, like whatever. And
that was
I feel like they said a while ago that they weren't going to focus on 1v1 because to them that seemed like it's just like a sum zero game, like balancing for that like is not going to make the game overall better for everybody else. It's not intended for that, and they're going to focus on like 5v5 sections or something like that, and making sure things are balanced in those cases.
Yeah, I don't think the problem is with 1v, like balancing with 1v1s. I think it's just the issue with the Warclaw coming in and just like negating everything, like all the skill that comes with a 1v1. Like,
right,
you can be at a disadvantage with a 1v1 and you could be doing well, but then all of a sudden 5 Warclaws come in and just wreck your day.
Right, but that happened before anyways. Like you could be fighting a 1v1 and like doing well, and it just takes a while. In the meantime, like 6 people run up on you, and like that's happened to me many times in World versus World.
It removed a large, it shut the window basically.
Right, it made it easier for that to happen.
Yeah, for someone to respond to you, which I get, and I can't speak towards the talk about 10K barrier on the 20-second cooldown, because
that is ridiculous.
I don't like, is that like a specific Scrapper build? Because I swear that has to be Scrapper that they're talking about, because Scrapper has all the
I think it was with the gyro changes. There was a trait that could trigger, I don't know.
Oh, I thought that one was a Scourge thing for some reason.
It's possible because of the change to the one trait where where the F5 is like a time bomb instead, because now it applies shroud applies barrier in the area as well.
Yeah.
I mean that's numbers. I mean, this patch released 2 weeks ago. Yeah, a week ago.
Right. And like I know people complain. Yeah, I know people complain that like balance patches don't happen fast enough, but you also don't want them to put in a balance patch and be like, oh, this is really too strong, and swing really quickly one way and then go back and forth and back and forth. They try to do it more incrementally to find the sweet part, to not make it so swingy, which I've played in games where they don't do that, and it's way worse. It's way worse, like every few days to get a giant patch that makes everything swing wildly to one side. So
yeah, because I was gonna say, like, and that's how I was picking it apart was, they're saying how, it's so frustrating with the balance in PvP and War v World, and it's like, if you can show me an MMO that has perfect balance, I mean, I'm gonna show you a crazy person. Like that just doesn't exist.
No, that's not what he meant. He meant the balance of the game just went super haywire over the past year and a half, and I totally agree with that, because it's just been super frustrating to play PvP with so many swings in different strengths like Scourge and Mirage. It's just like it's not fun to play in that environment.
Well, and that was always, I think, a concern that I think everybody here has always brought up with the elite specializations is like
the problem I have is that it feels like the Path of Fire elite specs are far more problematic than the Heart of Thorns ones ever were. It feel like, because I remember when they dropped the Path of Fire elite specs into PvP in the middle of a ranked season, and it was just you absolutely had to play a Path of Fire elite spec or you could not function.
Right.
You literally, like Scourge, super oppressive. Firebrand couldn't do shit to them. I remember Hollowsmith was just, where is all of this damage? Granted, they did have a bug with one of their,
they were still really good though.
Yeah, Like there were some bugs with their traits that just were doing absolutely ridiculous, like 4,000% more damage than they were supposed to.
Right.
It's just one of those things where for competitive game modes, I feel like a lot of the Path of Fire specs, while cool for PvE, just the way they function are not good for PvP. And that's more like, that's me. I really have nothing to back that more than feeling. Like I complain about Scourge and Firebrand because of zone control, and that's what PvP is in this game, including WW.
Yeah. Yep.
I complain about Mesmer because it literally or I complain about Mirage because removing the predictability of clones is kind of, that's the weakness of clones. So if you remove the weakness of clones and also buff the Mesmer themselves, that kind of throws the balance really wonky. And it's kind of like, Tavok always complains about, Necro is either too overpowered or a broken mess, and there is no in between. So,
I think Chad kind of nailed it. Is like, it feels like Hot's elite specs were more about filling gaps in the original classes, whereas POFs seem to be more thematic. Like,
I guess so, because like if you look at Dragon Hunter was about giving Guardians more range.
Right. And like I feel like the part of the problem I think they fell into with POF was that, like, so Hot, those were the first elite specs. So filling in the gaps was an obvious way to go with it, because like that would make it attractive. But then, going from there where they filled in the gaps, okay, now how do you make the new elite specs attractive so that people will try them and won't just stick with what they had been doing? And one of the ways to do that is just be like, make it stronger, which I think that's some of the trap that they fell in there.
I will admit the Warclaw is bringing a lot of people into WW that do not have experience with WW.
Right. Well, that's the other thing.
I'm gonna reiterate the one thing that Age said a while ago on this very show. If you are not a thief or a mesmer, have some toughness and vitality and or in your build. My kite dragon hunter, like my build is entirely based on cripple and just slowing and picking off people for other people to kill. I should not be able to 3-shot somebody with my longbow.
Right.
And we should not watch an enemy mesmer full channel meteor shower on the front lines of a Zerg fight.
Right.
You could tell when some people are new to World versus World versus.
Yeah. Well, I feel like some of the issues we're having right now, we also need to wait a little bit for the dust settled, basically. For like, some of these people might stay and want to keep playing, and that's great, but a lot of them are going to get the Warclaw and be done and get out and like see how the state of things is at that point. Like, and they have the data on that to know when that happens and what it's looking like. And then I feel like at that point they might start making more aggressive changes to Warclaw and all of that, and the effect that it's had on World versus World.
Yeah, this was dropped 2 weeks ago on the 5th. No, a week ago on the 5th. All of this.
I was gonna say,
yeah, sorry, days are running together.
Oh, I know that.
Give it a month.
Right.
Before that, because they're clearly, like it was said in chat, that they're going to be working on some of the speed bonuses that the Warclaw gets.
Yeah. Actually, chat brings up a good point. If you are commander, you should be on foot rather than on a mount. That way, people can catch up, because there will be people who do not have POF. There will be people who do not have a mount.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. That was my worry about it, because like I said, with my experiences with gliding, like the idea of keeping up with the Zerg wasn't possible. I never really wanted to Zerg in the first place that much, but I always preferred roaming or Havoc. But when I did, it was just impossible for me because everybody was gliding everywhere, so I couldn't keep up, and I felt like that would get worse with the Warclaw. And that's pretty much exactly what's happening.
That was the problem me and Age were having on Wednesday.
Yeah, because the tail would be, well, besides us dying, the tail would go, if you're on a mount, the tail gets a lot longer, so it's harder to catch up. But at least if you're on foot with swiftness, at least it gives people a better chance to catch up, and the tail is a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like when they were talking about World v. World and saying, taking a camp, like 1v1ing, and like, once again, it's like that, that's a risk you're taking where someone can just come over the hill and, mess you up. It just happens.
There's a very big difference when you have Warclaw. Very big difference.
I will admit that the pounce does still do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, from Wednesday night, we have decided that Warclaw is a verb. Because I was trying, we totally forgot that Warclaw had the spike thing for down targets, and I threw up a reflect wall to res Age because there was like 3 rangers on a hill using rapid fire on his downed body, so I was going to get a laugh, reflect all the projectiles, and then
one of them mounted up,
and one of them mounted up, jumped off, and just hit the leap, and it's just like all I see is a player name. Like the leap animation. I didn't like the mount didn't even load in for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And Age is just like, no, I got Warclawed. God.
I totally forgot about that ability.
Yeah.
Because I went in with the whole intention of just killing someone and then backing off. And then I backed off enough so that if I went down, because this is how I play in Zerg, so if I'm really low, at least I'll have enough mobility to get back to like the Zerg so that I can get rest. So I was near a few people, and I told Mathanas I was going down, and then I got Warclawed. So now I have to compensate for that type of.
Also, I don't know if they've addressed it, but wasn't there some kind of bug with they have one like a dodge ability or something on the Warclaw, evade or something?
It's their dodge skill, yeah.
Yeah, I saw people talking about there was some kind of bug where people were using it more than you were supposed to be able to or something, and it was causing issues.
Well, part of the issue is that in the patch notes they said they reduced the range of leap forward is because people were using it to get into enemy keeps.
Right.
Towers.
Yeah.
So they killed that. You are supposed to part of the mastery track for the Warclaw gives you a 3rd endurance bar, much like with the Jackal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another part of it. So I don't know if people are getting more dodges out of that than they're supposed
Maybe
to.
just people thinking that more is happening than what should be, but not remembering that they have extra, basically.
It's possible.
And like Chad's saying, there are some good things about it. Is like the good thing about the Warclaw they're saying is for roaming, they can actually get away from a Zerg easier. Right. So
you have to see it in time,
It's one of those things where you are increasing the speed at which World v. World runs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which that's why I'm kind of curious, maybe like Robin said, once the dust settles, maybe like we were saying even before the thing dropped, like maybe there has to be an adjustment to RI or something, other things where since the whole map, everybody in the map is speeding up, should everything else also maybe speed up a little bit or, whatever.
Right, like make it take less time to capture things or something in some way.
Because I think that's one issue, like taking a camp, they were saying, like maybe making that bar a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose this is one of the things that's fallout of a large scale change to a competitive game mode. Hashtag subtle plug. Vote to kick this week, me and Age. Check out the YouTube channel.
Ooh.
I mean,
well, go ahead.
Well, I'm just not against. I'm not against Warclaw. I do think there's pros and cons, obviously.
Right.
But I can complain all I want. I'm not really complaining about it, but it's
See, Age, you're interneting wrong. You're supposed to be like the Warclaw is the worst thing ever, and flip your desk over.
I have a lot of shit on my desk, though. So
And it's like after that, why would you flip your own desk? After that, you just gotta pick it up.
That was always my question about that meme, but whatever.
Yeah, but you know, I guess Warclaw I think greatly benefits in desert, just because it's so huge.
Right.
I guess I'll play a bit more, but I don't think it's the end of the world type of deal. I think there's definitely pros and cons. Though.
It's the end of the world as you know it. Do you feel fine?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, the good thing about it, if it was the end of the world, at least you're in world versus world where there's 2 more worlds. So you have a spare.
Yeah.
You have a backup. But yeah, like Chad's saying, oh, go ahead.
I just want to say that if you are on Warclaw and if you're new to World vs. World, do not think you can take me. I had this Daredevil who thought, he's trying to take it. I can sneak up and jump it. No.
Mm-hmm.
I blocked that Warclaw. I blocked the Warclaw attack and I destroyed them. No.
Oh, nice.
I will admit, I kind of saw that from afar. And it was amusing to watch because I'm going to close the gap on my Warclaw. And it's just like, are you sure you want to jump on that other lone player?
All right.
Are you sure? So
awesome.
He tried.
And like Chad was saying, their experience with is that Zergs just kind of want to fight Zergs, so the Warclaw kind of makes them get back to the fight faster, which I think that was one of their goals. And that tweet was also portraying like when you're camping or taking a camp or 1v1ing, 7-8 people tend to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, I feel like it makes it feel more like how other MMOs have all like. Modern day MMOs, when they have PvP, that's usually what PvP is nowadays, where it's never a one-on-one fight. It's always, I wait till I get my 7 friends and we take you down, and then you wait till you have double the amount that we have. It just goes back and forth, which, so hopefully that doesn't go that route, but it's also contained in World v World.
I'm a lone wolf. I must go on my own and conquer.
Boosted makes a good point that new World versus World players are sometimes funny because they have no fear, and it's true. Like you see people running, and it's like, oh no, oh.
I will admit they have more balls than other people in Zergs.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that. It's just like, oh.
More balls, less informed. It's.
It's like a kid who's just like, I'm gonna go do this crazy like flippy thing. Oh, ouch.
But
that's not how gravity works. Oh,
like when the commander engages, they actually go in. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will admit there is a certain level of okay, we're going in. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Leroy.
That's cool.
I won't lie. Maybe it is because I'm a bit of a noob in World World, but it's also because I'm a Norn at heart, so I'm like, I have to.
Yeah.
Except I'm my Elementalist, because that's a legitimate strategy.
Is there anything else going on in Guild Wars 2 this week, Dale?
Well, if you're looking to maybe trick out your Warclaw after you got it.
Trick that ride.
Yeah.
Yo, dog, we heard you
wait, is it this? Got it pinned.
I don't know.
You can't do
Exhibit.
that while wearing a Snuggie. It doesn't work.
First off, it's an off-brand Snuggie.
Knockoff Snuggie. Okay.
Yes.
Every week. This isn't possible. I wish it was.
Wait, you don't think Exhibit has a Snuggie? Rappers want to be warm.
Damn it.
Rappers like to be cozy. Especially when they make it rain money.
Exhibit wearing.
And when you make it rain money, you can spend things in the Jab store. Oh, God. Thank you always to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. Well, first up, we'll say the month-long March Madness sale. If you haven't been following them on Twitter or following any like of the content creators that maybe we were retweeting it out. I know other people have been. I think you missed things like bank tab slots, some nice cosmetic stuff. But today, if you're watching this live, if you're probably watching this on YouTube, you probably missed it, unfortunately. But if you're watching this live, this is a big one. 25% off character slots. So you can get them for 600 gems a piece. So
get you a key farmer.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, my last key farmer character just had her second birthday because I'm bad at key farming.
Wow.
I think I got a birthday present on mine because I just haven't. It's one of those things where you like do it for a week. Like when you see something interesting in the box, you're like, oh, I gotta do that again. And it's like, well.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm kind of crappy at that as well. But yeah, you can definitely pick that up. Also, the Warclaw Frontline Mount Pack has dropped, and it dropped with 5 Warclaw mount skins, and it's a total of 2,000 gems, which you can kind of see here. Dolphy kind of shows them each of them off.
Yeah,
you have
these are like pretty flashy skins. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say you have the
I would
assault.
have expected them to do 2,000 on their own,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have the Assault Warclaw, the Branded Warclaw, the Embermane Warclaw, the Outrider Warclaw, and the Vanguard Warclaw skins. And they are all together. You can't get just one. So
are these from like the other packs?
I was gonna say it was kind of like the one thing that we joked about with the Roller Beetle thing was they should do like a catch-up pack where it's like all the like random ones, but
like the Christmas one and stuff.
They kind of did that because they added the branded one, and like the Embermane one could kind of be thrown into some of them. I'm not sure so much about the other 3, and I know a lot of people have had issues with it where I think it's the Assault Warclaw and the Vanguard Warclaw feel like they're just like pretty much, well, I don't want to say reskin because they're all reskins, but kind of just taking the base model and changing like the color channels. So they seem very much more basic compared to especially the other 3. The I think it's the Outrider one is more of a cheetah type look to it.
Right. I do like that they some of them changed the overall look of the Warclaw. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I would hope for. Like I'm expecting a Warclaw, but with armor kind of skin as one of them, but I don't know. Like the branded, I'm watching the video and the branded looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
and the animation of the trails of the claws after it like grabs on the branded is awesome. But yeah, it's great. I like them. Like 5 skins for 2,000 gems is not bad.
Well, we pretty much said all of the 5 skin packs for 2K gems are pretty much all solidly worth it.
Right.
Which this one I think feels a little weird because it is just for one mount. So it's not like you can. I mean, I guess if you have alts, you're technically you could use them all at the same time. Well, same time on across characters.
Right.
But you can only have one active at a time type thing, which I know that's kind of where people have been a little different on the pricing on this. And I know a lot of people have been kind of upset that it's like, well, the Assault Warclaw and the Vanguard Warclaw are very more basic. But like I said, or like you're saying, if we break that up, it's 400 gems per mount, which I think is a substantially reasonable price, especially with the ones that are branded and Embermane at the very least, if you're going for the super flashy.
400 is what I would think like the base. This is the base skin, but with armor. Like that's I think is literally baseline for what a mount skin should be individually if we didn't have to deal with those. Not going to get back on that. But yeah, 400 gems a skin it's pretty solid. I will agree that with the other packs that are 5 skins for 2K gems, you're getting a bunch of different mount skins for different mounts. So there's technically a little less value here since you could technically use all of those other skins at once.
Well, I mean, you can only have one mount at a time, but you can
Right.
have them set.
But it's like, it's not like you have to go into your menu and like, because I think my Ranger has all of the exosuit skins equipped.
Mhm.
So I'm getting full value out of that whole thing because
Right.
that's the one I equip.
And I've seen what Chat's saying. I've seen other people say it is like it feels like a cash grab because they want World v. Worlders to spend money on the mount skin.
Of course they do.
It doesn't feel like a
Like, it's how they
for anyone
support
that
the game.
No.
for anyone
like,
that didn't see this coming when they announced a new mount in general.
Right.
I'm surprised, but I mean, it's
Also, like,
it's a cosmetic. Like as we've said before with these skins, you don't get the war. It doesn't come with the Warclaw unlocked.
right.
So I mean,
feel
I
like the
really
use
have a
of
hard time.
Cash grab has been rubbing me a bit wrong because to me, cash grab implies that you put out shit so people will spend money on it. It's not good quality, and I feel like whether you like these skins or not, and you think they're enough to justify all 5 of them for 2,000 gems is a personal choice. But I don't think you can really argue that there's not quality and time and effort that was put into these skins. Like,
Right. And I'll agree with like what was it, that last one that was shown there? The cheetah looking one.
Mhm.
I can't remember what
the
that was.
Outrider, I believe it is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I mean, all the other ones have horns. That's a much sleeker look. I can understand people wanting for like a minimalist thing. And I kind of agree with like the whole thing with cash grab is like cash grab is like either here's a piece of garbage to cash in on people wanting to buy something like a knee-jerk reaction, or
Right.
putting out something that is literally necessary, but you have to pay more money for it.
Right. Yeah.
Like EA and their sense of pride and accomplishment. No one's getting pride and accomplishment out of these Warclaw skins because they're literally just cosmetic.
Right.
It's just that in the future we don't know how the what's it called, alliance system is going to work out.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to have to buy, like, if you want to swap worlds anymore. That's gone. So that was actually the investment World vs. World players put in gem-wise.
Right. That's a good point.
So if that goes away, they kind of have to swap it out. And I think mounts is the best way. And honestly, I think mounts in whatever game you play will always like generate revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
When Warclaw came out, that was just like an obvious thing that they were going to make skins for.
Right.
Because again, well, I was just going to say again, PvE players are going to get this.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to have the Warclaw to
sit
on, basically.
Put skins on.
Yeah.
It's the AFK mount, since there's no skills in PvE basically for it.
Right.
My question here is, how are they going to do the mount packs anymore?
That's where it starts to get weird, because I mean, with we've seen mount packs come out that don't have like the roller beetle, so it's like,
I feel like the mount packs are going to stay mostly to the core mounts, and then they might do packs for the roller beetle or packs for the Warclaw, instead of smushing those all together.
Would you prefer individual ones, like a raptor pack?
Yes.
A jackal pack?
Haven't they done that? I thought they did that at some point.
I think they did the loot box license.
Oh, okay.
For specific mounts, but I'm not sure because I haven't really looked into mount skins other than the 2K ones, because if I want to buy a mount skin, I want to buy a mount skin.
Right.
None of the other mount skins have really jumped out at me for 1,200 gems.
Right.
That's the option they gave us, which I'm still sitting here feeling like that's kind of laughable for some of them.
Right.
But, I actually would like to see, like, for the branded, like the next time the branded pack comes out, I don't think there's a branded roller beetle. But I wouldn't mind seeing like the branded packs come back out, and they work a lot like the living story chapters.
Right, where if you already have some, it costs less. Right.
And then they can just be like, oh yeah, this is the branded mount pack. So you've got, all 5 of the base mounts, roller beetle, Warclaw, plus, if they ever add another mount into the game. And they just keep adding to them, and it's just like, you want here?
Yeah.
Pack.
That would be a smart way to do it, really.
Sure, it would get more and more expensive technically, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you like the aesthetic of one mount having.
Yeah, because
probably
I was
like
gonna say,
aesthetic of all of them.
I think that would be the one downside of, like Robin was saying, of like we could see more of these with the Roller Beetle or the Warclaw, where there's these like catch-up packs, which that's what this Warclaw one feels a little bit like, because
Right.
we had the branded and the Embermane one to an extent, where it's like, but you come across the situation of, well, I only liked the branded aesthetic, so now I'm forced, well, not forced, but you know,
Right, but if
I
want
want the
that,
full
now you
aesthetic,
the other ones, yeah,
yeah.
that's a fair
So,
point.
you know, and I've noticed some people saying like, oh, well, I only wanted like one or two, which, you know, I definitely agree. I would like to see like a more a la carte thing, kind of like how Jim is saying with the kind of the flex bundling tech that they have, would be a nice way. Even if they did do these sets where it was like, you know, hey, if you want to buy these individually, like when they bring in a new set for all the mounts, if you want to buy them individually, it might cost altogether, you know, X amount, but if you buy them together as a bundle, you're going to save 500 gems or,
Right.
you know, whatever the number.
Just remember, the puppy comes with the bundle.
Oh, really?
There was a really, really old commercial for I think it was Dish, where, you know, the people were like, you get the bundle and a puppy, and it was the puppy comes with the bundle. You can get the puppy, you can get the bundle.
Right.
But yeah, I kind of like, again, this comes back to the gem store needing another overhaul if we're going to be putting more of these bundles up. I think that the gem store really, 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 really needs updated. Again,
Yeah.
it's not conducive to the number of items that they want to be selling, and I think they're leaving money on the table with such a small storefront.
Right.
I totally agree. Any other thoughts on the Warclaw mount?
It's cool, man.
They look cool.
The Ember one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I go like, I mean, links will always be in the description stuff, but if you want a closer look at this, like I Dolphy's like dye jobs, like I think it was the, like I already like the branded skins, but when she did like the like the fiery look on the branded one,
Right.
that reminded me of like the, I don't know, it's like the like like what is it, the Chinese drawings of like the like
The
dragon lines or something like that type thing. Like it reminded me of that. I'm like I want to. I was like, I want that one now. Like it.
Right.
So I don't know. For me, it. She did a nice job of kind of dyeing them together.
Yeah.
But yeah. So definitely check those out. We do have some returning items, and it's a whole heck of a list.
Oh,
Cat.
my cat. Yeah.
Arlie's Warclaw.
Yes.
There we go. Custom skins, Arena. Get on that. You gotta just scan your cat in, and then they'll apply.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
I'm still waiting for a Chauncey skin.
Yes.
For the Warclaw.
I'm still waiting for a corgi for the jackal.
I was gonna say, I think she literally just said at the same time. There you go, Arena. There's 2 sales right there, and I'm sure there'll be a couple more.
I'm just
but
waiting
yeah.
for the corgi one, so Arlie will physically implode.
I'd be like,
it's one of those things where I kind of wish that, you know, she wouldn't know about it until the show.
Yeah,
Just
so you
to
can see
see-
the reaction.
Yeah.
It'll never happen.
Chad was saying they thought that was your echo instead because it happened literally.
Oh.
No, it's just when it comes to corgis, Arlie and my wife are like, they're on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the returning items. So we got the butterfly wings backpack, the glitter wings backpack, the replica Jobotron backpack, all for 500 gems apiece. You then have the covert char backpack set, the plush quaggin backpack cover for 300 gems apiece, the crystal arbiter glider for 500 gems, Largo's fin backpack glider combo, the moth wings glider combo for both 700 gems apiece, the white mantle glider for 400 gems, the bubble glider for 500 gems, the floral glider for 400 gems, the phoenix kite glider for 400 gems, Then we have the Shining Blade Backpack Glider combo and the Awakened Zealot outfit, the Outlaw outfit, White Mantle outfit, Bandit Sniper outfit, Crystal Arbiter outfit, and the Sentinel outfit, all for 700 gems apiece as well. So a lot of stuff.
Largos one, the Largos that's to feel like you're actually a Largos, because they'll
Right.
add another race to the game.
Yeah. Yep.
I will. Of these, I own the Shining Blade backpack and glider. Again, it suffers from being incapable of dyeing the backpack skin.
Right.
But it looks really good, and it has this really cool, like, rattling chains sound effect as you glide. So it's pretty solid if you dig the Shining Blade. It's literally a glider made out of swords. So if you're into that, go for it.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's always the downside with any of those backpack glider combos is, since you can't dye the backpack, you have this weird, like, activations look, mood setting. Like, I don't know what you would want to call it, where it just magically changes colors.
They all have the backpack glider combo ones all have an animation where they go from the resting state, i.e. the backpack skin, to gliding, but that animation is part of the glider. The backpacks are static. So as soon as you hit space to glide, your backpack suddenly shifts color, and then the wing, and then like the animation opens up.
Right.
And it's like, it's awkward. Yeah.
Make it like make your glider look red hot, so as soon as you start gliding, especially if it's a mechanic one, it's like, oh, it's already overheating.
They had one that was like that.
Well,
I can't remember the name of that glider. It's like
was it the scrap?
It was the one that came along with the Michelin Man outfit.
Yeah, I think it might have been like the ironclad glider. I think it was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
See, at least you all knew what I was talking about when I said Michelin Man.
Yep.
It took me a second. I was like, oh wait, no, yeah. But yeah, definitely check them out, and do note, I think they're just returning. They're not like really on sale, but you never know. There's still more time in the month.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on Gem Store?
Nope.
Keep an eye on the sales. If there's a thing that you like, I'm hoping. Did I already miss the material storage expansion?
I don't think so.
I don't think we got one of those yet. We got bank tabs, but I don't think we got that yet.
The material storage expansions, those are the ones I usually jump on, and possibly shared inventory slots.
Right.
Those are always good sales, and I don't think those have gone up yet either.
Yeah, I don't think so. But last up, we have Community Corner. First up, just kind of like little quick reminders of, remember we talked about it last week, but Gamers Giving Back. I think they actually have their meeting today. Might actually be happening when we're doing it, but they're kind of just setting up for their first Toga party in Guild Wars 2. I'm sure they're gonna have other meetings, but definitely if you want to be a part of that, definitely throw your hat in. You might have missed the first meeting, but I'm sure they'll take any help that they can get, because like we said last week, planning events, I know I would definitely take any help I could get type thing, in those situations.
Yeah.
So even if you're a late comer to it, but also along that note, we were talking about the hashtag Love for ArenaNet becoming a yearly celebration, and if you're still interested in that, definitely try to contact Blue Jasmine, either at Blue Jasmine on Twitter, or also their email address, bluejasminegw2@gmail.com. Once again, they're just kind of looking for more help if they want to make it a yearly tradition type thing.
Right.
Also, the UGO 5v5 tournament, like we talked about last week, and if you want to be a part of it, time's ticking. But basically they have their signups up, and the core tournament for NA is going to start April 7th, and also the EU core tournament. They will be doing it at a later date, and they do encourage, if you do want to be in either or, feel free to. It's not like you're restricted. You're only restricted by your account or whatever, but do know that, ping will play an effect. So, but yeah,
I swear,
definitely.
still every time you say Yu-Gi-Oh, I think Yu-Gi-Oh in my head. Like my brain retranslates it.
And you just hear the the English opener, and it's just I want to say I like the rules for this tournament. Core spec only. You can do one class stack, but they have to use different amulets. So I like that. It's a good way to differentiate for the set, because the example they give is a Mender's Guardian, which would obviously be a support, and a Paladin Amulet Guardian for damage. Right. So I really like that idea. And Arlie, Revenant is technically in there.
I know.
Well, because when we were talking about this last week, it's a core build, not necessarily a vanilla tournament. But also we have an update from speedrun.com. So Guild Wars 2's rework for PvE/raids and patch records. That's kind of being headed by Roca. And it's based off of, basically the records will be based off of the balance patches. So I know all those have been trickling in since the balance patch just recently dropped. And kind of in connection with that, Roca actually started a new show, and it might still be happening right now. I'm not 100% sure. We were hosting it before we went live, but episode 1 started today, which if you're watching this on YouTube, it was Saturday. And it was 7 p.m. CET, which if you're familiar watching our show, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 11 Pacific Time. So, but it kind of focuses on watching Guild Wars 2 related speedruns with other people and analyzing and discussing them. And it's kind of nice. They have like a little wheel and they kind of spin, so it's randomly picks the one, so they don't. They have all the videos lined up. It would be my guess, and kind of like a little randomized wheel. So really nice aesthetic. But this week they actually had Target from Snow Crows and also Diaxon from Metas. So, and I like I said, while I was setting up for a show and stuff, I was watching it while we had them hosted, and definitely, even if you are new to it, I think it's like new to rating or something, and maybe want to dip your toe into it. These are some of the bigger rating groups, so it's kind of good to hear like the like expert or higher experienced opinions from them. So
I will admit, from my personal experience from watching people play League, watching like people in higher tiers play League of Legends, I don't know if I could necessarily execute a lot of the stuff they talk about, but listening to people explain what they're doing while they're playing the game, and even because this is why I like watching Jebro when he casts PvP tournaments, is the man knows a ton about the game.
Right.
He explains things really well.
Yeah, he explains a lot so you understand and you follow, but it's not like obtrusive and destroying the flow of everything.
Yeah, and if they're good with the commentary, like it's gonna
it's a already established POV perspective, like video, like it's not them doing it live.
They pause it as they go through it. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if they were watching stuff live and commenting on it, but yeah, no, going through that makes it even better, because then they can pause it, rewind it.
Like, did you see that?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think because Roca was in chat last week, I think, or even during after show, I was like, my one requirement, and it might take them a little while, I hope they get to do it, is they have a little like MAAD board where they can write on it. I didn't see that on episode 1. I'm not sure. Like I said, I was trying to set up for show and stuff. So,
and my only thought is going back to that one I saw of a feral druid's rotation. Like you do this and this and this and this and this and this, and then John fucking Madden, and then this.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so we'll try to host them like beforehand. So we kind of have this. We're starting to develop a nice little block. Like, so if you pop in here around, like I said, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll try to host them every week or every time they have their show. You can watch us, and then usually we'll try to throw it over to Tyria now. So, which unfortunately I know this week they said that they were canceling their show, but they're going to be back, I believe, next week. I'm not, but if you don't know, follow them on Twitter. That way you can stay in the loop as well. But I think that is it for this week. Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MalthanusMMO. And Twitch chat just crashed. What the hell?
Oh, Twitch would never do.
Twitch never
solid.
crashed. Twitter at MalthanusMMO. You can find me here on twitch.tv/MAADrealms. That's 2 A's in the MAAD every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Vote to Kick, where we talk about various things in the gaming industry and we vote to keep or kick them. This past week, I had Age on. We talked about large-scale changes to competitive game modes, where I think mostly Warclaw, and then also because Age plays a lot of Overwatch, and we both play League, we talk about new characters in those games and how those things kind of fix, or how those things fit into gaming and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But after that, we do Zero to Hero, which is either competitive game modes or hard games. Me and Age were in WW after that, experiencing getting Warclawed.
Just me.
Hey, I'm pretty sure I got down at least once, but the models weren't loading in for me properly. So,
okay.
But hope to see you all there.
Awesome. And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Age Night Road. My voice died this week, so I haven't been doing much. I really want to get back into streaming, but I'm probably gonna do that after PAX just to be sure my voice gets back and I'm not sick after PAX and things like that. So I'll probably be trying to get back in Guild Wars 2 and a bunch of other games. I still have Tomb Raider to beat. I have Life is Strange episodes to do, things like that. So
also got to play Warframe.
Played Warframe yesterday.
Oh, no more screen time for you. Robin, where can they find you?
Yay, I love that. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Arlie82. This week, actually, on an MMORPG, I had the Guild Wars 2 column, and I wrote about the All or Nothing Requiem short story that they put out recently, a few weeks ago now at this point. Probably.
Oh, I was like, wait, there was a new one? Wait.
And I speculated some on what I think the Kaith and Zephyra stories will cover and what we might find out there. So
awesome. Definitely check that out. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. Got to stream a little bit this past week. It was Warframe because I once again was throughout half the week waiting for those parts to come in for my authenticator so I could actually get into like GW2 or my other games, which I do have the parts. Now I just have to put it together. So hey, that'll be fun. But yeah, if you are just popping at the very end, do stick around. We do a bit of an after show. If you do want to watch this in full, we do highlight it on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/MAADrealms, 2 A's in the MAAD. Those we usually highlight that the same night, so Saturday nights. But if you prefer YouTube, if that's your preferred platform, we put that up on YouTube, just youtube.com/MAADrealms. And that goes up on noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Sundays. And if you want to watch it all in one nice little cozy package, we do have a website, MAADrealms, 2 A's in the MAAD.com. And that we put those up. It goes live right around the same time as the YouTube video. And that actually has, on that page, has the audio version of the podcast, so you can listen to it. And while you're maybe at work, well, on break at work, or driving to work, or what have you, or just, don't want to see this face. I don't blame you.
Wow.
I don't know why I went that route. Wow. Anyway, I don't know. Whatever. It's your loss.
There
But
you
yeah.
go, Dan.
But yeah, that looks like it is it for this week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and all that stuff, MAAD Realms, or at Talking Skritt if you just want the Guild Wars 2 stuff. But as always, we'll see you in the game. Good night, everybody.
Bye, friends.